G'day everyone, welcome along. We are back on Silverrun Forest Farm. Good to see you, John. Thanks for joining. I think you're the only one there just at the minute, but we'll see how we go. We are just getting started. Hope everyone's had a great weekend. Somebody else just popped in. Now, I hope everything else is working fine. It all looks to be at my end. Let's just... I've got sound, I've got pictures. And I decided we would come back to Silverrun because I felt we had plenty to do and plenty of ideas in train. So we've skipped forward to June. Now you have, oh right, you have that as well. I assume that's bingo, is it? I can't read the, there's a really annoying little emoji icon just over the end of the, oh, there it is. You have sight and sound, so that's good. G'day, Mark. Welcome, sir. Sound and game, excellent. That's always a good beginning. Now, what I was saying was, I just thought we'd check. So our animals in here are healthy. They have a bit of food. There's a little bit of milk there. The plan for today is to bump them along. And the idea that Jake has had, if we... What's the easiest way? Jump into the overview. And we sort of zoom out as far as we can. So we sort of squeezed these cows in when we first got started on the map, and all our fields are now planted. Over here, it would probably be easier to do this in a, let's get out of there. Let's put our drone up, as Mr. Searley P likes to say. So what I was thinking was, don't have a plan to turn this area over here into a field, but potentially we could use the expandable pastures mod and run some fencing sort of loosely around an area and let the cattle wander through the trees. And in particular, I was thinking beef cattle. So I think we're going to experiment a little bit with that. We don't necessarily need to be aiming for hundreds. We don't have a tremendous amount of cash yet, but that's the basic plan, and it's just a matter of deciding where to put it. As I understand it, they don't necessarily go well on particularly steep terrain, but I figured, just based on how it worked on Panya, there's a lot of scope for land that won't otherwise be used, and we could just run a few more. And what I was kind of thinking is same concept as we've got down here, is so spread them out so they can roam during the summer months, and then have a couple of big barns to house them in for the sort of 3 months that there's snow on the ground. And that feels a bit sort of realistic and lifelike. And we can put hay in the pastures that we've got up here, perhaps run a little bit more grass sort of along the lines of what we did in the field where we planted amongst the trees over there. So for instance, just zoom across here. You know, so there's kind of an area around this lake that would otherwise be not used. The trees that we planted in here have grown up. We could cut a few of them out and use this, and then sort of go for the strips of grass up between trees and get a bit of a sort of a forestry grass thing. There's lots of dead trees in here we could get rid of. So that's kind of one thought. I want to give Mark's major service a bit more attention because we only sort of talked about it last week. We're a bit short on cash. I'm hoping if we roll forward a month or two, so we'll get back down to ground level here. We should have a few things that we can sell. So let's have a look. So we've got some soybeans coming up in July. The price is getting up there, so that'll give us a few dollars. We do have some sugar beet, which we could, we'll turn a good portion of it into sugar. That'll need some more munching. We do have some butter down there, some cheese, and we've got a bit of slurry that we could drop in the biogas plant along with the manure, I think. So we've got quite a few chores and bits and pieces. The barley that's sitting up there is what we use for seed, and the oats to feed the horses. So there's a few jobs that we can do. In addition to the fact that if we run forward a couple of months, of course, it'll be harvest time. Now, in terms of our productions, the strawberries are just going straight to the warehouse, to the ice cream factory. That's the only reason we're making them. So I'm just letting that distribute over there, and we'll just keep them topped up. The ice cream factory itself now has some sugar that's distributing direct from the sugar factory, which we've just leased the productions. We've got a little bit of honey in there and a little bit of strawberries, and our dairy is starting to produce chocolate, albeit quite slowly with all three productions on because it's only a small dairy. So that probably means we've got everything we need for that. We could, it's not very expensive. Let's activate the dairy. We could do with some more milk. The ice cream factory. We could do with some more milk in it. But with any luck, by the end of the day, we'll have some ice cream. So there's that. We'll let milk accumulate a little bit further. Fields. Let's check our fields. I'm pretty sure. So we've got all of our crop in the ground. So there's now, probably should change the name of those fields. So we've got soybeans closest to the homestead, and then corn in these 4 fields, some oats over here, oats here, sugar beet down by the water, and a whole bunch of, is that wheat or barley? I always get confused. Wheat. So they're all in various stages of growing. The wheat will be ready shortly. Looks like the, what's that over there in Eddie's? The oats will probably be ready pretty early too. So that's fine. We have got grass to cut down at the riding school. Now that we've got a few more cows, we're getting through a fair amount of feed. I think so. We did manage to pretty much lime everything. The soybeans don't need fertilizer, and the oats are more a function of the soil type. So everything is fertilized. What job should we do first, he says. Well, one thing I know I need to do, where is... We do need... So let's put... bale spike on here. Oops. Post just getting in the way there. Is there a way to fold that up? Fold is O. Right. It's a bit safer to drive around with it like that. Now, I think with this weight on the back, I can tow successfully. But one of the things that I know we need to do here, we could mix feed here, but the problem is most of the feed store is down by the new shed. So what I was thinking, there is a little bit of straw in the mixer. So what I was thinking we could do is do a course. Which way is that road going? Right, so there's nothing to connect to, so let's ultimately make this a two-way stretch, but for the moment I'll just put a second line in. Allows us to achieve a little bit of separation. It can hook up with this other line over here. I think Jake's operation's getting to the point where he can have a worker every now and again. And what I'm thinking is someone on sort of like a contractor on a fixed salary, maybe one of the older kids from the riding school. And so we can do something like those that we used on the oats, where we sort of pay a monthly fee to have someone that will drive tractors and deliver things. It's down here, turns around onto there, so that's all fine. But what I'm thinking in this particular instance would be quite handy just to be able to send this mixer across here to get a load of TMR. So that's what we'll do. On a bit of smoke. So I'm guessing at 150 hours mark, this falls fairly and squarely in need of a major service category. Yeah, let's see here. We need to collect. Connect you onto there. Keep you out pretty wide. Guess the line up here. We call this TMR mixer. Bill. Okay. And take some TMR while we're here. Sure, that's gonna work. Let's try and stay on the right side of the road. You need to go to there. You need to go there. Yep. Cool. That'll be one chore. Ah, cool. Well, I would imagine that with both the launch that everyone anticipates is coming, there'll be all sorts of activities to do with that, and FarmCon, because I can imagine for a little company running an event like FarmCon would be all hands on deck. I look forward to, I don't sort of follow closely everything Disturbed puts up. Every now and again I certainly looked at a lot of his stuff. I would imagine at this stage they wouldn't necessarily be working around the clock on FS25. They'd be, the marketing guys would have heaps to do, because it's kind of one of those things, there's only so much you can do while it's all a secret, and then when it starts to get close to not being a secret, what we need to do here, I should have done that first. Let's do that and that. You're going to be a pain, are you? Right. And call you cow shed feed. Turn that off, do that. Why start now, Mark? Right, so we've got a one would imagine if they're going to, to whatever extent they get prepared to have it available to play, it'll be a pretty controlled environment. So yes, there'll be things to test, but I doubt that they'll be, you don't want the software moving around too much because that just increases the risk. You're far better off just making sure it's fenced properly and that prying hands don't get into the parts that you don't want people to see. Now, where did we get to? So we don't have enough to put another trail load in there, but at least now we've got a circuit we can run. Oh, that's what I wanted to have a look at. So if we look at our cows, we've got a bunch that we probably should sell. 43 months. We might wait for them to have one more lot of calves. The price is going to come down. Yeah, I think we'll wait for them to reproduce once more up here. Cool. So let's just park you there. Bring you around. And let's have a look at what a major service is going to set us back. So the repair indicator says we're in reasonable shape. The price, if I recall correctly from last week and Mark's description, will be 5% of the original purchase, which I've got no idea what that was for this. Where are we here? Ah, I didn't want to get back in there. Where's that? No, it's over here somewhere. There it is. Right. So, Alice Chalmers. Service, $1,500. So that sounds perfectly reasonable. So we'll do the service. Okay, so the service doesn't apply to the forks, I take it. Is that what it does need a repair? Is oh, I see. Okay, so we repair as well. So they're not inclusive. Sorry, yeah. Ah, okay. Next service at 41 hours and it's done 8. Right. I'm with you. Cool. All right, so does that make sense to everybody? So that What's it done here? Operating hours 150, which we had a service. Next service advised at 49. We might do some work and then come back and see if it's Giants maths. Good answer. Good answer. We're certainly not going to repaint anything, and we're not going to worry about the weights. I really don't understand why the weights, why there's not a flag or something you can set in a module that says it doesn't need maintenance. Right, so that's that one. Let's move you out of the way. Gotcha. So if we go and get, because what we know we're going to need for harvest is the gleaner. So let's have a look at the situation. So worried about the tree and the... It's all getting a bit tight up here now that we've got a heap of equipment. The reason the planter is sitting there is I thought it'd be a good idea to repair it, and I think we might sell it. I think he's at the point where he wants to buy a new one. So service is a bit cheaper here because the original retail on this. Cool. I haven't looked at mine. I had about 5,500 the last time I looked, which is fine. The sort of thing that is, because it doesn't do anything other than provide that button, it won't get any interest from console. Does this work on console, by the way, Mark, or is it all scripted? I think I asked you that last week. I can't remember what the answer was. So we don't need to do anything else. The service is done. Cool. So same deal. It's a shame you can't interpret or intercept that value and do something else with it, because it's kind of a neat idea that it tells you when the next one is. Okay, so the gleaner's all set for harvest. Only 6 minutes out? I'm not understanding. It looked like it was 50 hours out to me. Let's have a look at this tractor while it's here. So the service is a bit more expensive on this one because it was much more expensive. So last service was 0. Next one's advised. So is that in 14.5 hours from now? Is that what that's telling me? Service, yes. Okay. So now it's going. Right. So is that telling me that 49 hours from now, or at in 15 hours from now? We'll count down. Okay, cool. Almost be worth having a just thinking a connection between these two. Yeah, the countdown makes sense, but see, when you're out in the cab, you can see where you're at. It'd be helpful just to sort of, when you go to check it, that it told you that time that the service was due at, like an indicator on the, or even I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not trying to create work for you to do. Now, did I do that? Just on right yet. You don't need a service, you just need a repair. Excellent. Let's put the Amazon back in until next season. Pop you over in the corner. It's one of those things that, Mark, it's not what I'd call an issue. It's just depending on how people use it. Once they get used to it, I mean, it tells them all the correct information, but there is scope for it to be misread, I guess. Exactly. Turn you off for a sec. Let's take the Kubota over, and I'm guessing the trailer needs it as well. Trucks also need some work. Whoop. Get out of the way. Bang. Repair. Yes. Repair. Yes. Service. Yes. I wonder if it's cheaper than the Kubota dealer down on the road. That's all done. Right. So what we'll do is we'll run this trailer down. He doesn't offer a service, you reckon? He says he does on the sign. What's more, he's open all the time. Let's pop this in the garage here. So we won't need this until we actually start the harvest. Looking at how those fields are ripening down here is where we'll eventually want it. Although for the grain harvest we will use the other trailer. I suppose if I shut the door. Yep, good job. Cool. Oh, okay. So you're allowed to link vids on the mod page now, are you? And I did wonder why you needed his permission, but that makes sense. I haven't looked at it on the mod page. I could probably do that. Let's have a look here. Giants modhub. And search for major service. Hang on a tick. We need to go to there. So more info. There you go. I like the that's a fabulous looking intro vid. Cool. So there we go. That's major service for anybody that's watching that's interested. It's cool. Now, so let's go back to there and there, and move that over behind there, so I can actually see what's going on. There we go. Right. Good stuff. So, we've got tractor with nothing attached to it. We'll just pop up here and grab the trailer that's been sitting in front of the shop. Down to 937, so we don't have enough to put. I have to remember to buy some forage additive or silage additive. But for now, this will do the trick. It doesn't look like it's got a tank on it. Oh, good job. So having used all the money on the service, I haven't left us enough to put the pastures in just at the minute. So what we will need to do is a couple of runs down. Just park this here for now. We'll do a couple of runs down to the BGA with some slurry. Bright spring day. Welcome along. I see a couple of folks have dropped in. I know John's gone off to his hospital appointment, I suspect. Great to have you here. Thanks for watching. We are on Silverrun Forest Farm with Jake and Paige. We've got plenty going on here these days. We'll just take a couple of loads of slurry down to the BGA. All our fields are taken care of for the moment, so like everything, the equipment starting to get a bit small for the size of our operation. So this year's harvest, number one goal is to pay down the loan, or a little bit of the loan, probably 100,000 worth, like he's been promising his wife that he would, but hasn't. And then try and take advantage of whatever else is in the shop sales. This is another example of a job that we could use the contractor he's thinking of hiring to just whip down and do these once he sets the courses up, teaches him how to do it. There's good access, roads are a reasonable width. Anyone that's watching that hasn't or that thinks, hang on a minute, I've got the platinum edition, this doesn't look like my map. There was a bad fire here and the roller coaster and the old mill burnt down. There we go. It won't pay particularly well. And so a consortium Jake was working with. G'day, Cootis. Welcome along. They built the BGA, and as part of a deal that he was able to do, he got a long-term lease, so he's put in a cow shed and some vehicle storage. This transport yards belongs to the consortium, and then there's a couple of there's a factory makes diesel from corn, and a cereal factory, along with the Kubota workshop, which is in fact open as I suggested, and a big AGCO dealership on this map. Although they don't seem to sell a lot. They've got a nice display though. Jake's got his eye on that Laverda harvester when he gets a chance. And some cash. Probably have to lease it again this year. He's not keen on running the gleaner on the hills that he's got over near the old sawmill. What was that? They didn't get us a lot, did it? Let us leave that because that's going to be a slow task. Straws are all good. We checked them before. Let's. How much milk we got there? Not much, but it's worth doing a run. There's no milk over in the other cow shed at this stage. Fabulous looking dashboard. Really noticed the acceleration after the tractor. If you're wondering, I have the cruise control set to 70 in case at some point I put it on a AI worker and just stop them rolling at the first time they turn in. Now, can I... Probably not from within the cab. Since the stream last week, a skid steer loader came up, which there we go. Oops. Which he bought. Not this one here. Let's just move that honey. Lovely. Getting a bit low on fuel there. So what's happening in here? So we've got a little bit of milk. Strawberry ice cream. It produces pretty fast. I don't think. Oh yes, we have. There we go. I'm not sure leaving it out in the sun's the smartest strategy. Well, that just means we'll come back with the other truck and pick up a couple of pallets. What's strawberry ice cream sell for? Where are we there? Oh, good price. Worth a fortune. So that's the way we'll get some cash back in so we can put our pasture in. Welcome along, whoever's just popped in. Just doing a few of the morning chores. Yes, I haven't done any editing of that mod. I'm not planning to use it to its extreme, but in fact, kind of the thought that I had was that I was only planning on using it or selling during the summer, so we'll see. But June officially counts. Maybe that's what happens when you let an Aussie use loose on a North American map. Back it up. Put it back in its spot. Okay, I'll move our angled a bit so we can get the tractors in and out. I don't. Yeah, it might tell it. I reckon we can take this down to the shop and flog it while we're at it. Although, what's it worth? Truth be known, it might not even be worth flogging. This is the sort of thing to have around just in case. Where are we? Planters. Let's try a look at our planters. It's only worth $5,000. I think we might just keep it for the occasions when we have a small field. So let's pull you over there. Right. Let's duck down and flog some ice cream. Haven't decided what the town's going to do with the old roller coaster site. Whoops. It's back in there. Now, oh, there's some more honey there. We'll grab that while we're here. Might make chocolate ice cream next time. Oh, there was more. I guess being spring, the bees are fairly prolific. These little pellets are a killer. So presumably major services can be done at anywhere that does a service. Is that so any workshop? It's not specific to one that you own. Excellent. A bit carried away there, push you on. Those forks long enough. I will do that in just a second. We'll take this skid steer to the main store. I can't see why it would be a problem. Boy, that ice cream's heavy. Too heavy, in fact. Get over there. What? Up. And down. It's a bit better. And round up. Welcome along. I think someone might have just joined. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you are well. We've just Jake's dream to have some summer ice cream to sell at the riding school has finally come to fruition. So you're just in time to see his first batch. I think, as it turns out, ice cream might prove fairly lucrative, which will help restore some good favour with Paige. Anyone that hasn't come across it before, Paige is Jake's wife. She is a vet. Works at a vet hospital not far from Silverrun, sort of a county establishment. Let's pop you about there. That's where we want it. Let's just go across to the service point. Is just, I think it's just here. Where are we? It's just up in front of us. It hasn't got enough hours on it to service, but we will repair it. But it looks like it should have worked fine. The button is there, yes. Correct. Anyone that's picking this up afterwards, if you're aware, we're running the major service mod Mark has had recently released on modhub, so that's what we were just checking. Well, that one can wait till next time. Five boxes of ice cream ought to be a good start. Got a bit of a wander to the left. Undercut even if he is slow. It's the only place on this map they drive slowly. Is it? I think the farm shop should allow me to sell it. We'll find out in a second. Yep. Beautiful. 21.5 grand for the ice cream and another 2 grand for environmental score. I love it. Right. So what we'll do, we can leave that ute parked here. Oh, actually, let's not do that. Because I think the place we want to put our expandable pastures is up right on the top of the hill. And I've been to the high country here in Oz when there's a couple of farms that got grazing properties that are adjacent to the national park, and they're allowed to run cows in the national park in the high country in the summer. So what I'm thinking is the place that might be ideal is just along here somewhere. Now ultimately we might clear some trees out, but I'm thinking sort of here. So if I turn you off, jump out of the car. So I'm kind of thinking if we use, so if we go into animals and we go to cows and we grab expandable pastures. Pop. So he's if you haven't, for anyone that's watching that hasn't seen it before, this is kind of how it works. You get a basic pasture, and if you look closely, so you've got some feeding troughs there. What I should have done first, let's turn on the triggers so that when I come in, go to there, we can see where the triggers are. That would make sense. So if I place him something like, I'm sort of thinking something like this. No need for it to be too far in. Turn on that. So 7.5 allows us to do that. Now then, if I go to the pasture extensions, that one I placed, if you were watching, gave me 15 cows. So if I now go to pasture extensions, I've got lots of different shapes that give different extensions with different numbers of animals, and in my case cows at first. So we might want to do that's 1 cow, 2 cows, 5 cows. I don't know why he's red. It's a big one. Now I don't want it to go in the water, but if I put it, so if that's the top of the hill there, I put him sort of like, I'm just going to experiment. If I come up too high, so you can see, if I it would have put it there, it'd be off the ground and the cows would be off the ground. So I think we need to go with smaller. Smaller squares. That's only 2. That's 0. That's no good. 10. There we go. So if we did something like that across there. Yep. Is that going to work? Let's find out. And as you can see, these extensions are, in essence, a bit that's complicating things of the trees. But because we're experimenting, we're just going to pop them down. That one looks like he's way too high. I think we'll just, the basic idea here is that all of the blue bits need to overlap. So we now should be able to let's buy 5 Angus. And 5 Limousin. And hopefully we should find that there are cows in the bush. Cool. That's the plan. Now, what I'm thinking to go with that, I need to play with the ground a little bit just to get the troughs okay. But then we can I'm thinking we'll run hay up here so they've got some feed. And because I don't want them in concept running all over the farm, even though they won't leave the nav mesh, what we'll do is two bales of hay. Because we're only planning on feeding them hay. Hopefully I've got enough weight in the back here. Let's see. Trying to avoid doing that. Oh, well. Always the downside when the trigger's just a little bit close to the hide it away. But you get the idea. I've also got to run some water up here, don't I? Right, so there's some feed. It's just landscaping, sculpting. Let's just flatten you out a little bit across there. Let's make that look a little bit right. Fortunately, they didn't give us giants. My bugbear that I was complaining about last week, they didn't give us much in the way of textures to be able to make everything beautiful, but we'll make do. Just that. Let's sort of dress it up a little bit. go in the right direction. That looks all right. Cows are wandering around there. Now, the other thing that was part of this plan, because I want to control where they go, is with any luck, I have another mod that I grabbed, which I'm hoping... Ah, here it is. Pigtail electric fences. So let's have a look. So what I'm hoping we can do with these is keeping in mind where I try and remember where I laid out my... What happened to you? Now I've lost... Certainly trouble when you use little... Ah, there they are. What you can... The idea being is to sort of ring area that I have in mind, keep them so now we've got a electric fence. At least that's the idea. Cool. And when we decide how we go on the other side, we can run it the other side as well. But that gives you an idea. Easy to modify. And we'll stock that up nicely. What's it say? It says we need to add some water, I'm guessing. Third view, cow shed, home cow shed, cow pasture. That's the one. Yep, they need some water. So we'll bring the water up. And that will do the trick. Because I've got the weight on the back of here, we might. Red. The water tank. Now, where is there a water point? That's a more important question on this map. I have no idea. I don't even know if there... Well, there must be somewhere. Hotspots. Others. I wonder if you can fill water from the river. There is, yeah, the sound, I'm not sure is fresh water though, but where it might be, it's just easy enough to find out. Yes, you can do it from the river. Okay, cool. Whether this trailer will fill from the river is a whole other story, but we'll find out. Yeah, down here somewhere. Jake built a Ford up there. Let's see. How low does she need to go? Oh, hang on, it might need to. Yeah, it does. You have to open the lids. Let the air out. And I'm tipping that's going to be heaps of water. And that worked out all right. You can see Jake's been planting some trees down by the water's edge here to try and put back from the ones he's cut out. Also to hold back erosion off the back of the fire lookout. It was pretty barren. Oops, got a bit of a lump there. Boop. We have a trigger. Beautiful. Well, that'll do the trick. Might leave that there to remind me for the minute. Yep, food's good, water's good. So we'll increase the stocking levels as we have a bit more spare cash. For now, it might be a good time to make some hay. Stretch. How long to FarmCon, Mark? Is it a week? 2 weeks. Cool. Right. Let's unfold you. Check that you're on. Oh, yes. And away we go. Oop, it's a rock. Suppose I could get the rock breaker and get rid of those at some point, rather than just bumping them with the mower, but where's the realism in that? It's also a shame they don't give you a grass texture that's a bit like the native grass on here. Do you reckon you're a chance? Would you get any recognition for that? Is there a process for having mods adopted into the base game? Oops. I would have thought it was worth something if they did that. I mean, I'd like to see them put my mod into the base game. Should always have been there, just the ability to assign function keys more broadly, but I certainly wouldn't expect something. I don't think there's any valuable IP necessarily, but in your case, there's, you know, there's a lot of code and testing gone into what you've done. That would have been rude. Whoop, there's a big lump there. Should fix that while the grass is cut. Mind you, I thought I had. Yeah, well, I'm intrigued to see what sort of things, what directions they've tell us they're going to take them, or are taking the base game. I'm not spending any energy speculating about it. We'll be intrigued to see what happens. These days, it's always hard to tell when some of those things happen, whether they is accidental or deliberate. The marketing guys love to create a story out of nothing. Right, sure. Plan on Thursday night. I'll be back again on Thursday night. No commitments this week. Is to go back to Panya. We'll see where Henri and Angelique are up to. Whoop. Drop in a straight line, champ. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll make hay only out of this. And then, because we've got plenty of silage in the shed over by the feed mixer, it's hay we're short of. And potentially we might put a grass cover crop in one of the fields we take the wheat off. Haven't decided yet. Whoop. There's a piece of timber hiding in the grass. Let's double back and get those annoying bits that I missed. See, down here is another place we could potentially put a pasture. But I'm not sure conceptually I want stock sort of running so close to the road. I'd prefer to have them a bit further back. Where there's a few more natural barriers between them and the public. Welcome along. I think a couple of extra folks just popped in. Great to have you with us. Hope you had a good weekend. Just getting some hay sorted out for our growing cattle operation. Must remember to sample the ground up between the road and the lake, because the pond over there, because I think that's included in the field. I might do that after we've run the hay. Come on. Turning its best attributes. There we go. And it's looking like the tedder on the end. If you pick that up, you're going to be able to get you out under that. Yes. As long as I put it down. There we go. Couldn't take long at all. A little reasonable width on there. Plenty of deer in these hills. It's not Jake's plan to own either the sugar factory or the cereal factory here. He's quite happy just producing the grains that they need, making enough sugar through the sugar factory by leasing it periodically just to whip up some ice cream to keep his little business by the riding school stocked. We would like to run up a few head. Yeah, there's no train coming, is there? Nope. A few head of both dairy and beef cattle. Oh, just in time. on the hard stuff tonight. Straight water. Whoops. Let's try doing the road edge along that road there. I'm just trying to avoid those holes. I hate to think of the value of stock that Agco's got sitting on display out there in the weather. A few $1,000,000, I'd reckon. I was watching, I have to look, what's his name? No, buildings, containers. I've got them on here. Gaming Joy, that's the one I was looking for. Thank you. I managed to get a few minutes of one of his streams the other day, and he was talking about, well, he's playing on a Brazilian map that he's been fixing, but one of his challenge ideas, and I like the way he sort of works some of those through, but he's developing quite a list of rules that work like a leveling up in an RPG, which I thought was pretty neat. So for example, you know, you start off with lots of facets of the game conceptually locked. So for instance, you know, the capability, you start off with just a on foot with a chainsaw, for example, and you've got to chop down, you know, 10 trees before you can unlock the lumberjack mod, and 100, you got to sell 100 trees before something else happens, or before you can, you know, buy some logging equipment, and you sort of got it tiered. You start off with a limitation of a 100 horsepower tractor, and you've got to work through some challenges to upgrade your tractor capabilities. Some of the others he had something to do with productions. And I thought, oh, it's quite neat. Good concept. You've got to do a certain number of contracts for a farmer before they'll lend you their equipment, or they'll only lend you old equipment. Those sorts of things. So there's some really, really good, interesting stuff. He's got a link to it on his site. For a good programmer, it'd be an interesting challenge to do a pretty comprehensive script that would lock away a lot of those functions and sort of automate the management of it by keeping track of your various goals. I would imagine it'd be quite a lot of work. But it was the sort of concept that felt a lot more engaging than the current collectibles system. Oh, stiff shoulders tonight. What exercise is required? Hard to get motivated when it's cold outside. Mark, do you have any interest or intention in expanding the list of desserts in the dessert factory to warrant an updated release? I was going to add a couple to Anya, which I'll, when I've done them, I'm happy to send the formula and the palette art to you for your consideration. The two I'm thinking of are vanilla slices and meringues, which we've talked about. I was also thinking of oh, okay. I was also thinking it'd be kind of neat in the same pack to have like a and I know there's a couple of equivalents, but your own variant of it. An on-farm or artisanal type dairy. Ah, cool. Artisanal type dairy for what I was thinking in particular was skinny milk and clotted cream, which I thought then sort of fitted as companions to the dessert factory and would give you the ability to supply sort of semi-processed product. So it sort of started to become a bit more like a collection of related things, but it struck me as kind of odd that that none of the dairies actually produce cream as a product. Now, where was I going next? I was going to row you up. So do you just want the pictures? Is that the idea, Mark? And if so, what? I presume it's like a 2K JPEG or something like that. Is that the deal? Okay. Sure. Yes. Good. Yes, everyone wants to clip the ticket. Well, that was a pretty productive session. We'll be able to get a load of grass off here into the feed mixer. That'll put us in pretty good spot for the start of harvest, I'm guessing. Just do, whoops, we're gonna go right across that log. Do a big spiral grass collection. Post. Not a bad size field. We get reasonable yield for the stock we're running yet. Doesn't take too long to work. All this grass equipment needs a bit of a wash. There is a jet wash down here at the horse stable, so we'll avail ourselves of that, although not today. Rightio, so what's it about? 2 more laps, maybe. Maybe 3. We'll get this bit done. Big U-turn. Whoop. Steal my own windrow. Just get hung up. We're not going to bail it anyway. Taking 4 loads across to the feed mixer will be similar level of effort to running the bale around it and loading the bales, so And given in the feed mixer, it's just going to get munched up again. There's not much benefit. Not, at least not for this load. Okay, up and back, and that should do it. No, there was something I meant to talk about in the stream today. I can't for the life of me remember what it was. Should have written it down. I'll probably wake up and remember it's stupid o'clock. So, probably worth it. Over those. What's most annoying? I didn't do too badly today. It's the first time for everything. The turning wheels on there get me into more trouble than they solve as a general rule. What does it look like? There's no mileage additive tank on here. I thought there was. That was why I bought it out of the second-hand sale. $7,000. Okay, it's got the capacity I expected. I'd have to take it to the workshop and see if it'll allow me to add it, or add one. Maybe I didn't have any cash when at the time we bought it. In terms of efficiency, this is about the equivalent of 8,000 litres in a big hay bales, I think. This takes about 11, which is 80% of the Artisan Square trailer. Don't hit the train would be a good idea. There, like so. Bale the tracks. Evening, Argsy. We're just catching the last load of grass here before we call it quits for the evening. But it's great to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Mark is been keeping me excellent company this evening. We were having a look at his major service mod. We've serviced all the tractors. We've also built some more roaming pastures up on the land that were not got pegged out as fields, so basically the top of the hill up there. Whacked up some expandable grazing in because I like the way they looked on Panya, so thought we'd give it a whirl on here and see how it shapes up. Ran some electric fence around them, and we'll let the beef cattle sort of graze through the summer, and then move them down to the shed for the 3 months of snow. At least that's the plan. Have you got a stream this week, Argsy? Or do you fly out this week? I can't remember. Almost there. So you've got a busy week, basically. And can we take it as confirmation that there is a Giants video announcement this week? Right, let's head over and drop this in. What? You mean you've got a job as well? How unreasonable. Crops are looking good. Cool. Oh well, I'm not getting up for it. I will wait till see what everybody said about it the next day. Right, sure. Don't know how much of this it'll take. Probably most of it. Let's have a look. Beep, beep, beep. Seed forage. A is full, so we need to turn it on. I got a little bit of silage in there. Okay. So we'll leave that parked there. Because that's about half. That'll go. I need a forklift over here. How are these cows doing? They're out of food. No, they're not out of food. I'm out of straw. That's why it's not making any. Hang on a sec. Where are we here? Where's the trigger? I've forgotten. Where is it? I'm standing beside it. We'll do it. Let's get 2 of those. Right. That should get everything cooking. Okay, excellent. Well, folks, I think that's where we might leave it for tonight. Thank you, everybody, very much for watching. Great to see you. Thanks for dropping by and spending a couple of hours with us. And we'll be back on Thursday night, Australian Eastern Standard Time, 7:30, and we'll be on Panya. So until then, stay safe, have fun. See you, folks.